British Columbia. Have you ever been in Kelowna? Neither had I, as I boarded the last flight walking on to drive the 2018 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1-liter e-Terra Firma. Meeting my little Alaskan Air twin prop prodded me outside of Napland. I had to consider for a second where I was and what I was doing here. I've been traveling flat out since January, when I flew towards the Middle East to compete inside the 24 Hours of Dubai sports car race. Since then, among other responsibilities, I've attended Germany a couple of times to run with the Nürburgring, and after this here I am, 170,000 miles later, within the Pacific Northwest for any test on the latest Camaro track special. As I eyed the 1L initially, its ultra-aggressive stance helped me think on the long-standing Mustang-Camaro rivalry, with fanatical fans on both sides. There nothing beats political or religious fanatics. Naturally, they're much more civilized. That said, seeing the 1L's rabid front fascia in a very rear view mirror stands out as the vehicular equal of a middle finger to anyone in their path. Camaro chief engineer Al Oppenheiser informs us, the 1L is concentrated towards track and street. We aimed for just a vehicle buyers. General Motors figures people age 50 and older can drive towards the track, enjoy driving on course, after which drive it home. The 1L may seem to follow function in excess of design. Air management became a chief consideration throughout its development. Bodywork was required to change, since the 1L's wheels 11 inches before, 12 inside the rear are an inch wider compared to ones that comes with the standard Camaro ZL1. The fenders are 0.7 inch wider to efficiently move air throughout the larger rubber 3053R19 front, 3253R19 rear. As a historical note, here is the widest rubber ever employed with a factory-built Camaro. Unique on the 1L package, Chevy decided to use 19-inch wheels instead on the base ZL1's 20-inchers. The 19s pull air through them since they roll to help brake cooling. The 1L features a longer front splitter molded above the standard fascia, plus racing-derived dive planes and larger front grille openings. All of this adds downforce on the front, which suggests a new rear wing is essential to re-establish aerodynamic balance. The 1L rear wing is very efficient, adding downforce with little drag. The use of carbon fiber allows the wing to become very thin where needed, which suggests aero-effectiveness dictated the design rather than manufacturing limitations or design eccentricities. Total downforce, as outlined by Chevy, is 300 pounds at 150 miles per hour. Chevy visited Suspension Masters Multimatic to function on the 1L, the identical company that's heavily associated with the new Ford GT supercar. As does the Ford GT, the Camaro 1L uses Multimatic's dynamic suspension spool valve, DSSV, damper technology front and back. DSSV technology has been utilized in Formula One and also other professional racing series and is particularly, needless to say, expensive. The main tech difference in a very DSSV damper in comparison to a typical example may be the use of exquisitely engineered pistons, with portholes instead in the deflective discs, or shims, traditionally found inside. DSSV technology provides for much more specific shock tuning and also a wider array of capability. Note, the 1L's dampers aren't adjustable. In an effort to delete chassis suspension flex, traditional rubber mounts and bushings were eliminated where possible. The 1L front dampers are hard-mounted, bottom and top, that will lead to more consistent handling on the limit. Interestingly, in spite of the hard mount, loosening just 3 bolts and rotating the strut can increase front camber to a few degrees negative within minutes. This is a very beneficial option for trackside preparation. Ride height is usually adjustable by way of a total of 0.78 inch using the front strut spring perch. Plus, the back stability bar has 3 positions. Amazingly, the DSSV dampers for the Onla saved 23 pounds on the ZL1's regular setup. More than 2 decades have passed since I dealt with Goodyear tire engineers to cultivate super sticky street-based race tires. After a long layoff, a minimum of on my side, I can say Goodyear is back within the sticky street tire game using this new Eagle F1 Supercar 3R1 Specific. Think Pirelli Trufio, Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s, etc. In other words, they're exceptional, and degrade if you check out them too long, but, oh, that they grip. Goodyear worked alongside the Camaro group around the new R3. Normally we'd see maybe 4 iterations of development tire at many, Oppenheiser says. With the Onla tire, Goodyear submitted 7 over several years. Indeed, it's good to discover another player from the sticky street tire business, the way it should provide more competition and improve and increase ways for all enthusiasts. My street drive with the Onla develops in northwest Washington, round the picturesque Coralville, Tonasket area. I drive 300 miles, sitting inside the driver's seat approximately 8 hours. I'll say something the following about the seats inside the Onla identical towards the ZL1, these are unquestionably the most comfortable seats I have ever found within a GM vehicle. That is great news because this car feels stiff, and I mean really stiff. The Onla doesn't need a lot of suspension travel, plus the dampers are designed to operate best within the limit at racetracks. In fact, expansion joints on public roads make the car to skip. Ripples in asphalt while approaching several stop signs send the Onla into it mainly because it skips derived from one of ripple for the next. Staff photographer Robin Trajano and I find ourselves away from our seats a couple of times. Yes, we've got seatbelts on even as encounter abrupt road heaves. But once I understand the way the Onla is placed, I drive accordingly. The car's ride and handling reminds me of driving a Porsche 997-911 GT3, they seem to share with you similar compliance levels. I have not heard you are not a GT3 complain in regards to stiff ride, as usually they understand what they bought. I suspect and of course hope Onla buyers will probably be equally discerning. Regardless from the stiffness, the Onla feels fine 99% with the time on Washington's superb country roads. Handling at spirited not nutcase speeds was predictable and impressive. The Goodyears provide constant lateral grip of over 1 gram without fuss. Despite the big grip, I could manipulate the Onla anytime. I practiced some overdriving scenarios with traction and stability control nannies set to minimum intrusion. I leaned within the front tires and used quick hands to upset the back. Nothing caused a twitchy or snappy reaction. Just manageable little slides corrected easily with steering input or with the traction stability controls. The chassis and Goodyear combo did wonders. I can't use all 650 horsepower and 650 lb-ft of torque in the supercharged LT4 V8 for a lot more than a couple of seconds without reaching jail time speeds. This is power enjoyed fully with the track, as being the Onla can be a really big stick, so you can't come near to using all of it about the street. The MH3 Tremec 6-speed manual gearbox is fantastic. In fact, it really is one from the best production car manual transmissions I've tried, plus the rev match feature is flawless as much as I'm concerned. The brakes 6-piston Brembos front, 4-piston rear are superb. The steering feels connected and direct, probably helped with the solid mounted struts. A fair number of tire noise has the car above 60 miles per hour, but it really does absolutely nothing to hinder conversation. Engine noise can be a friendly burble in normal driving, only changing to "Can you freaking hear me now?" That has a heavy foot. Why, though, in that track-tuned car, does the Onla have electric seats, since there must be 60 pounds in electric motors built into them? Oppenheimer answers, "We left the mini ZL1 content in, once we believe the Onla buyer will demand it." He adds, "This is not a stripped-out car, something like that may tend towards a Z28. So then, despite each of the track-focused bits in tuning, the Onla remains all ZL1 inside and weighs only 67 pounds less, 3,820 pounds. The basic Camaro controls are really easy to use, and I had no problem achieving the perfect driving position. I managed 15.3 miles per gallon during our 300-mile day, including a minimum of an hour of engine idle time. As far as racetracks go, we headed to Area 27, a 6-month-old facility just away from Kelowna. The 3-mile track has 16 turns and principal purposes by Canadian F1 champion Jacques Villeneuve. I can confirm he didn't design it being boring. There are fast, medium, and slow corners, a wicked blind 100 miles per hour chicane, and great elevation changes. It's a superb circuit. The Camaro ZL1 one-lay Chevy got out for track driving work right before we arrived, the setup work completed by Bill Wise along with other GM ride and handling engineers. As mentioned, front camber, ride height, and the trunk stability bar are easily adjustable. These engineers know their stuff and they are as fast as pro drivers within the cars these engineers are suffering from. Check out the superb Onla Nürburgring lap on YouTube, 7 minutes, 16.04 seconds. Whenever testing, I try out every one of the traction control modes from probably the most restrictive to everything deterred. I find stay away from surprises here. The traction stability systems execute a great job of keeping the chassis and power at bay. The Onla gives me the opportunity to correct every one of the silliness I throw advertising. The least restrictive race mode TC set me back only a few tenths of any second over everything off with the top +minute lap. However, there isn't a getting away in the fact the Onla is really a heavy car. The majority of how light it is resides within the front axle, and also a driver can induce understeer if clumsy with steering inputs. The rear stays really stuck unless severely provoked. The 3R tires stay consistent after multiple laps, times falling off only slightly, despite having ambient temps within the mid-80s. The ultimate stick in the Goodyear will not quite match that with the Michelin Cup 2s I've tried, however it's close. The brake pedal stays solid in my opinion all day, though I am not able to have a gorilla foot. On the track I would not let tire pressures exceed 35 pounds per square inch, and 2,830 pounds per square inch usually be a sweet spot. My photographer wants some drifting shots for the end with the day, plus the Onla can be a pleasure to slide, giving me a good amount of control and feedback. I had used a similar Cartier's ride through the day, and after concluding I am amazed to determine minimal tire wear. I don't understand how long the brand new Goodyears can last, however these well-abused specimens did as good as I expected. It's yet another example of modern engineering and technology, plus the fact we are now living in an amazing time for your automobile. Autonomous innovation is arriving. A lot of hybrids are available, but you can buy a weaponized 650 horsepower Camaro ZL1 1-liter E for $69,995. No one knows without a doubt how long this might last, but I will enjoy the ride so long as possible. 2018 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1-liter E specifications. Price $69,995. Engine 6.2-liter supercharged OHV 16-valve V8650 HP at 6,400 revolutions per minute, 650 lb-ft at 3,600 revolutions per minute. Transmission 6-speed manual. Layout 2-door, 4-passenger, front-engine RWD coupe. EPA mileage. NA LXWXH 188.3 by 74.7 by 52.4 inches, wheelbase 110.7 inches, weight 3,820 pounds estate. 060 miles per hour, 3.7 seconds estate. Top speed 190 estate.